Alright, this is Mr. Gillum, and today we're going to solve two-step equations. So we're going to move a step up from the other day, and actually we've been working on one-steppers for a while now. Let's just review about what we know about one-step equations, okay? We know that when you have an equation, the goal is to get x, or the variable, or whatever the variable is, by itself. In this case, x. Okay, we don't know what it is, but we want it to make a true statement. In this case, we have this plus 3 here on the left-hand side of the equal sign, and we don't want it there anymore. We want to get rid of it, so we want to subtract 3 from both sides. That means x plus 0 equals negative 7, and so we know x plus 0 is just x, so x must equal negative 7. Okay, and we've done this before, and we solved equations where you have to add to solve. In this case, we have a minus 5. The opposite of subtraction is addition, so we're going to add 5 to both sides. X equals negative 4. We've done those before too. In fact, we've done some problems where you have to multiply and divide to solve. Okay, these one-step problems. This says n divided by 3. The opposite of divide is multiply, so we multiply both sides by 3. And so we said n equals 18. And so we've solved equations like that. And we've also solved equations through division. This is negative 4 times m. If we divide both sides by negative 4, we know that m equals 4. Okay? A negative divided by negative is a positive. And this is all stuff we've done. Okay? But today, we're going to add another step. Okay? There's going to be 2 steps. And what I want you to do is always, always, always add or subtract first, and multiply and divide second. Okay, so always in that order. Add or subtract, then multiply or divide. It's kind of the opposite of the order of operations. You start at the bottom of the ladder. Okay, so let's look at the equation here. And this time we got 2 things in our way. We want our x variable. We got 2 things in our way. We got the 7 to get rid of and this 4 to get rid of. Now, we could either divide to get rid of the 4 or subtract to get rid of the 7. However, step 1 says add or subtract first. So I want to get rid of this positive 7, and I can subtract to get rid of the 7. So I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides, and that's just going to get me a little closer to finding what x is. These 7's can cancel out, so I have 4x equals, what is that, 16. Okay, so now, just like our review problems, look, we have a nice simple equation. We have 4x equals 16, and we know how to do this because we've been solving these for a couple days now. This says 4 times x. If I divide both sides by 4, I have x all by itself, and I know x must equal 4. Okay, so as you can see, we're just adding one more step to our equations today. Always add or subtract first. All right. So once again, I have this equation here where I have a divide by negative 7 and a minus 3. First thing I always want to do is add or subtract. Then I want to divide or multiply, whatever it takes, okay? But adding and subtracting comes first. So I'm looking at this minus 3 out here, and I know I can add to get rid of that 3. I don't want the 3, I just want the y over here. I need to get rid of the 3 and the negative 7. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides. Y over negative 7, or y divided by negative 7, equals 7. From there, okay, I have a nice little equation that I've solved before. This is y divided by negative 7. We know that if we multiply both sides, the opposite of divide is multiply. If we multiply both sides, we can solve for what y is. Y must equal negative 49. Okay? Just remember, whatever you do to one side of the equation, you also have to do to the other side of the equation. Okay? You have to add or subtract first, though. All right? And once again, this is a very similar problem to the one we just did. Okay? We have a plus 6 and a divide by negative 2 that we don't want either one of those in there. I know to get rid of the plus 6, we can subtract first. So if I subtract both sides from 6 from both sides, I have f divided by negative 2 equals 2. And so now what I can do is I can just multiply or divide. I know that division, the opposite of division is multiplication, so I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 2. That gets rid of that negative 2 down there. So now I have f equals negative 4. And that's my solution. Okay? So like I said, we're just adding one more step to the equation today. always add or subtract first, do that step first, okay? Then divide or multiply. So let's look at this one here, and it's very similar, okay? We have this multiplied by -2, and we have it plus 5. Add or subtraction comes first, so I know I need to get rid of that positive 5. The opposite of addition is subtraction, so I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. -2x equals 6. Now that I have -2 times x equals 6, I know how to solve this equation. Okay, the opposite of multiply is divide, so I'm going to divide both sides by -2. X must equal -3. And there's my solution. X equals -3. All right, let's just do one more here. Just to get the hang of it this time, though, our variables on the right-hand side. Okay, it's a little different. We're still solving for h, though. Okay, so nothing's going to change. I still need to get rid of this plus 6, and I still need to get rid of this times 3. Plus or minus comes first. Divide or multiply comes second. So to get rid of this plus 6, I know I can subtract, so that's what I'm going to do first. -6 from both sides of the equal sign. 3 minus 6 is -3, and that equals 3h, because the -6 cancels out the positive 6. Now I have -3 equals 3 times h. I still want h by itself, and I have 3 times that h. So the opposite of multiply is divide. I'm going to divide both sides by 3. -3 divided by 3 is -1, and that equals h. If you prefer to write it this way, you can also write it like this. H equals -1. It's like saying 25 pennies equals a quarter, or a quarter equals 25 pennies. You can say it either way. All right. Do one more with the variable on the right-hand side. As you can see, k is over here. We want k all by himself, though. We don't want this -4. We don't want this multiplied by 2. Add or subtract comes first, and to get rid of one of those numbers, I know I can add 4 to both sides to get rid of the 4. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, -2 plus 4 is 2, and that's equal to 2k. The 4's cancel out. Now I have a nice simple equation here. I can divide both sides by 2 because I know the opposite of multiply is divide. 2 divided by 2 equals 1, so I know 1 equals k. Or better yet, k equals 1.